Hi guys, welcome back to Plumber Parts. Today I'm going to be changing over this lovely little heat exchanger here for one that I'm pretty sure has failed in the Grant Vortex external combi boiler behind me just there. So in this video I'm going to show you the symptoms of what could be happening here, why I think we've got a compromised corroded heat exchanger. We'll then take out and install a new heat exchanger, giving you a few tips on how I do that. We'll then do a test to make sure that it's all okay before taking back the old heat exchanger, proving to you what I thought was wrong with it, then cutting it in half to give you an inside look into how heat exchangers work and the principle behind their function. All the tools I use in this video you can buy on our Amazon store, links below. You'll also find our snazzy merchandise below as well. Remember to hit the subscribe button and remember to hold tight. Let's get going. Remember, you can learn more about combi boilers and the plumbing in your own home by visiting our interactive house, links below. Sorry if it's a bit blowy, by the way, guys. A little bit windy out here today. Probably going to get rained on as well, which is why I love to work on external boilers when it's about to rain. So anyway, the first thing I do, as you can see, I've already taken the cover off the front of this. I just want to show you why I think the heat exchanger on this is compromised. Now, we've got a pressurised system here. Right, so the boiler's running at the moment, and the main symptom that we're seeing is a rise in pressure in the heating side of the boiler system. So this should be actually a static pressure of about 1 bar. So what we usually do, or what I usually do, just to make sure I'm not going mad, I go to my camera, I line up my phone as best I can to the front of this, and I take a snap of it. The reason I do that is because sometimes the increase in pressure can be really small. Now, I've checked a few other things as well to make sure that they're okay, like we've made sure that the expansion vessel is alright. Also, I've taken off the braided hose off the front of the boiler, and I'll show you that in a minute, and I've made sure that there's no let-by from the two fill valves, because on combi boilers we're on a pressurized system, we've got a braided hose, and what we want to do is make sure that those valves are shut and the braided hose is taken off. If we're still seeing a rise in pressure after that, then there's only one place that those two can cross over, where our mains water pressure in and our system pressure can cross over, and that is within the heat exchanger. So I'm going to leave this another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go back to my phone, look at the photo. If I've still got that problem there, then I know that this is probably going to be a heat exchanger, and that's going to be the first thing I'm going to change. The reason why it's the first thing I'm going to change is because it's only 100 quid. Now, I say, okay, I know only £100 is quite a lot of money for some people, but this is probably one of the cheaper parts on the boiler that you can do. But also there's a couple of other things on the heat exchanger as well that I'm a bit worried about. We've got limescale build-up on the outside, and that usually shows that we may be getting some sort of rusting or internal issues with the heat exchanger that we cannot see. So I'm going to give it 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll come back in a few minutes time and see how we're getting on with that pressure reading. A few minutes later, so look, we're already at about 2 bar already. That's pretty mental. So you can see there, it's fairly obvious that we've got a problem here. So what I'll very quickly do, I'll do another tiny little test. We'll turn the water off coming in, that water there. Then I'm going to drop the pressure out. So now I've turned the mains water supply off coming into the boiler. We've also got the braided hose off as well. So there shouldn't be any way for us to get any pressure into this system. So let me have a look now. So yeah, now we're hovering, well, we're just hovering pretty well. I'm just going to give it 10 minutes now and see what we get. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to need a bit of sun cream soon. It's so sunny. I thought May was meant to be a complete washout, but there we go, obviously not. Right, I've done 1 or 2 more tests as well. I shut the valves going off out onto the heating system. I then watched the pressure go up, okay, turned our cold water mains valve off, and then went inside and just opened up a hot tap, and then guess what I saw? The pressure on the boiler side dropped. So that means that we're getting boiler side water coming out the hot taps, which is something we don't want at all. So now I'm happy to change over this heat exchanger now. The first thing I'm going to do is just shut every valve off at the top that connects us to the rest of the system. We don't want to have to drain the whole system out if we don't have to, because this is usually quite a quick change. So I'm just shutting off the valves now. Right then, so now I'm happy I know what it is. It's time just to do a little bit of prep work, because what we're going to do a quick changeover on this. But below it, we've obviously got that pump, which has been just perfectly installed. I mean, what great design. So we are just going to have a little go now, just popping a little bit of jointing compound on every one of these here, so we just mix it up nicely in our fingers and just rub it on each one of these flats. Just try not to get any into the actual exchanger part itself. So we're just getting a little bit of standard stuff on that. Then just get some on the flats of our fibre washer, and then you can just literally glue the fibre washer on like that almost. It's not going to go anywhere now you've done that. And we're just doing that little bit of prep work now, just to make sure that everything's ready to go in a few seconds time when we do our swap over. So look at that there, we've got those on there nicely now. And look, they're on, but they're just not going to move very much, so we're all ready to go. So I wouldn't recommend this job for the novice. This is really a fairly advanced kind of plumber job, I'd say. Also made slightly more advanced if you want to do it without draining down the whole heating system. So number one, my workflow for this is to turn the boiler off to make sure all the pumps are turned off, and even pull the electric plug out of the boiler. Then I'll turn all the valves off to everything, and that includes pump valves. And of course the cold feed in. Then I'll go into the house and open up every hot tap in the house, top and bottom if you've got a 2 or 3 story house. That makes sure that when we slacken off our hot out and cold nuts, we don't have a whole house's worth of hot water on top of us to come out. Basically what we're doing is getting it so we control the situation. Once we've done that, I'll then drop the pressure out of the heating system using either a drain off valve or, quite naughtily, a high pressure relief valve. Oh dear. After this, I'll grab some towels and some diversionary buckets to channel the water away from any electrical components, because there does tend to be a lot of electrical components inside these boilers. Then it's a matter of whipping the nuts off, taking out the old heat exchanger, getting the new one in with our lovely pre-jointing compounded fibre washers, tightening them up, and then reinstating the system. Right then, so as you can see, I've got the new one in now. This isn't an easy job, guys. We're probably gonna have a little weep or two maybe. I don't know, usually you find you get something or other. I've opened up the cold water supply to this. I've got all my hot taps open already. So I've got control of the situation, I've got control of the build of pressure. And the last tap I'll turn off will be the one just through there, and that'll be when pressure is fully arrived at. And then I can just pop around here and make sure that we've got no leaks. And that's really important. When you're doing any kind of plumbing work, having control over the situation and control as to when the pressure is going to build up and actually happen. Right, so now we're going to top up the system pressure. The thing is with this sort of work, we've disturbed these joints here, so we could have leaks everywhere. I mean, it can happen. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, we appear to be good. And also, look at that, we're holding pressure. So we're proving now that we definitely had a problem with our heat exchanger there. Let's pop this back in. Just keeping an eye on it now, but that is banging. Right then, so look, I just want to show you something, that these, right, these here aren't really for the faint-hearted. This job isn't really for the faint-hearted, but it's a good way for you guys to figure out and know that sometimes there's something wrong and that you need to get it fixed. Where's the old autofocus? Like the fact that I didn't have autofocus switched on the camera there. But we've got a nice steady pressure now. Earlier on that was rising and rising and rising. So look, what we'll do now, let's take this expansion vessel back to the studio, and then we can, so let's take this expansion vessel now back to the studio and let's pop on a little test. Let's see if we can run some water through these and get water out of where we shouldn't. Right then, so we are back at my gaff. I was going to go to the studio, but actually I've got more bits and pieces in here that I can do this with. We've got our expansion vessel here, and we've got the heat exchanger that I took out of that boiler just here. And what I'm going to do for you is we're going to pressurise the cold feed and the hot outside. But before we do that, let me just tell you what these basically do, what these pipes are here for. We've got our flow and return from our heating system, these two here, and what they do, that is heated water from the boiler that doesn't mix at all with the hot water that comes out of your taps, and that water flows through here and then out back to the boiler again to be reheated as and when you need it. We've got our cold feed in, and that picks up in a heat transfer, which is exactly what the heat exchanger does. It exchanges heat, transfers heat, and that picks up and then goes off out to the hot taps here. So what we've done, we went to this boiler, didn't we? We found that there was pressure that kept going up in it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually prove that. Now, I'm pretty sure it's working okay, because when I spoke to the customer earlier on today, because I actually left my tripod at their house, they said the pressure had stayed stable. So I'm really pleased with that. So what we'll do first, let's just pop this beast in the vise. So we've got our 2 flow and returns here from the boiler, and we know that we were having trouble pressurising this. And the only place in the house where these two and these two cross over is in this unit here. So, got my lovely old set here. Beautiful old set of fibre washers. Look how old these are. I put a rubber washer in this one already. Okay, so that's there. So there we go. We're going to have our cold water going in here. And our blank off there, we should see water come out of either this hole or this hole. That's what we should be seeing. Or even if we're lucky, both holes. Yeah, I've took my hoodie off. What do you think of this lovely new t-shirt? I have just had lunch. This is why it feels a bit tight. And also I bought a poly pin. That is 36 pints of Adnams Old Ale, because I've got some mates coming around this weekend for an absolute sesh. So I've got a hose here, it's just running slowly. We should just get some water up here any minute now. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. So there we go, a bit of water there. Let's just pop that on here. Now, let's shut this valve. And we should see, if this was working, that we get no water out of either of these. So let's see if that's the case now. Oh, check this out. Here we go, look. We shouldn't get any water out of either of these. And I think we're going to. Which proves my hunch as to what it was and why I changed this expansion vessel in the first place. So this should be pressurised now. We're letting nothing else into this apart from cold water from the mains that should, because this is shut, pressurise up. But if there's some sort of problem, if these two have been breached to these two, that would result in water coming out of one or both of these holes, and also that would result in the boiler pressure going up like it was and creating those symptoms that we saw. Guys, you do need a bit of, what do you call it, patience, as they say, and take that. These leaks can be tiny, but if they're there, this will always happen. It's going to take a few seconds. Look at that. So there we go. That totally proves it. That's enough for me, guys. Ooh, if I can get this off. So I'm really happy about what we've proven there. We've definitely proven there's a breach between the two. While I'm here though, why don't we just take the time to just quickly cut a cut across the end of this or something, just so you can see inside an expansion vessel. And why do I keep calling it that? Just so you can see inside a heat exchanger and realise a few things from that. Let me just empty the water out of this first. Got a little bit wet there, guys. So look, you can see why these are called a heat exchanger. We've got two bodies of water going through here, and they're going through these incredibly small plates of area. I mean, you call this basically the heat. If you laid each one of these plates out, that would give you an idea about the amount of surface there was. So we call that surface area, which gives us a massive amount of area to transfer heat from one side of that surface to the other, which is all these effectively do. Apart from what we've done is we've layered those surfaces on top of each other in this small unit like this, so we can fit it inside a boiler. So think about how much heat one of these has to transfer. When you open up a hot tap, it's going to have 12 degrees, sometimes cooler water going through it, and in the time it goes in and out of this, it needs to come out at 55 degrees. So they do an amazing job. But now you can hopefully see, look, we've got water still coming out of these little bits here. You can now hopefully understand why these go wrong. Number one, we've got limescale issues, we've got corrosion, which is what's happened here with this one. What can happen is these small waterways here can get limescaled up. Now, it's actually quite simple. Now, if you know how to take one of these off, you know how to, all you need to do to descale it is to get a standard descaler, or you can use white vinegar, something like that. Just make sure before you put anything in that it's going to work okay with the metal. You pour it into here, just fill these two up like so, and then just leave it overnight, and then you can go back through, rinse it all out, and that will usually get any of the limescale out. So really happy with how this has gone. It's been a nice opportunity to get that boiler working for those people, but also be able to show you how one of these work. Oh yeah, baby. So guys, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you've got any questions or comments, comment below and I will answer your comments in the next Plumber Parts comments video that usually go out on a Wednesday midweek. So you can do that as well if you want, and that's probably the best place to do it. Ask any questions in the comments below here and I'll answer them there. A lot of you always comment about the stuff that I've got in my shed and how dirty the shed is. That's because I'm always building things on my other YouTube channel, Times of James. So for example, over here, we've got an old accumulator just down there, and we've also got a big lamp post just there, and I'm going to make that into a huge wood burner. There's a few other things that I'm going to be doing in here, a few other projects that I've got on, so if you want to check those out, please do. If you want to be part of the Thursday night 6:30 live streams with the AL Army, which means you have your own emojis and ranks and stuff like that, they would have already got a sneak preview of this video, so lucky them. So if you get a chance, click the join button below. It's a really cool community, and there's lots that go on over there. So anyway, thanks ever so much for watching, guys. I'm going to go and have myself one of those 36 pints now of old ale from Adnams, and I suggest you guys do too as well. That's if you like a beer. See you in the next video, guys. Love you all, and remember to hold tight. See you later.
It was a heat exchanger. It was so close. It was letting water where it ought to. So I took it out back to my shed and cut it in half. And now I've got a noise abatement order from the neighbors next door. Heat exchanger, not expansion vessel. Heat exchanger, not expansion vessel. Heat exchanger.